review of Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is the author of the book Life, Leadership, and Success, no other than Mr. Charlie Honeycomb. Oh, sorry, Mr. Charlie Newcomb. My apology, Mr. Charlie. Welcome to Book 101 review. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yes, good evening. My name is Charlie Newcomb. I live in the New England area. I've been in New Hampshire for the last 30 years, originally from the state of Maine, relocated to New Hampshire back in 1989. So I'm trying to do quick math. 35 years, I guess now. More than half my
Yes.
life is here in New Hampshire. So a great, beautiful state.
So, Mr. Charlie Newcomb, thank you so much for sharing life and leadership and success to the world.
Yeah.
What inspired you to write this book?
Well, I've had always said in my during my 33 years in the McDonald's world and beyond McDonald's that I had a lot of things that come up in my life, and whether it's personal life, professional life, and how certain things create your path. And I've always said I'd love to tell my story and talk about what I've learned, how it's impacted my decisions, and the things I've done to improve on myself, and just decided what the heck one day to write the book. And it took a little bit of time, but I think it came out all right. So far, the reviews are good.
So far, so good. So can you share us, or can you share a pivotal life experience that shaped your leadership philosophy?
Boy, that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. I think the first recollection I have of in my McDonald's days is when my employer McDonald's was willing to pay some money for me to take the Dale Carnegie course, and here I was, this shy little boy from Maine, and you have to get up in front of the group and speak up about you have to get mad, and you have to slam the newspapers, and it's really to teach you that you don't have to slam a newspaper to talk. You don't have to yell to get your point heard. You can talk firmly, but you don't have to yell. I've seen in my lifetime so many people that feel they need to yell in order to be heard. And I remember that particular lesson in Dale Carnegie that just kind of opened me up a little bit and made me feel comfortable speaking out in front of people. That one particular section of that class, it really stood out to me as a game changer.
Beautifully articulated, Mr. Charlie. Very well said.
Thank you.
Very well said, Mr. Charlie. So, how does living a purpose life mean to you, especially in the context of leadership?
Repeat that again, Daniel.
Yes, how does living a purpose life mean to you, especially in the context of leadership?
Well, uh, I look back to all of my, uh, my life, and you realize that one, life is short, and our lifespan. Hopefully, you live an active life and can get up there in age, and you do the right things and make the right choices. And I think some of the things that we do in our lifetime will impact some of those decisions. And sometimes things happen, but I also believe that things happen for a reason. And whether it's God above guiding you, guiding you to make those decisions, but it's it's what makes you stand out to be different in the crowd. And I mean, there's so many, like I said, so many things in the corporate world that help me to make some of those decisions in life. Whether it be a job. I remember when I almost bought a house up in the state of Maine, but they had my boss was gracious enough to kind of tell me, don't buy this house because there's some things happening that gave me the opportunity to relocate, to New Hampshire. I did move to Massachusetts for a little while, but settled in New Hampshire. And if I hadn't had that opportunity to move, that would have dramatically changed my life. And I don't know if that would have been for the better, but I guess you get what life gives you and you deal with it.
Yes, life is too short, people, and live at the moment. So, how do you define success both personally and professionally?
Success is really what you make of it. Your determination of what makes you successful is a little bit different than what makes me successful. I mean, I'm proud of the fact that I have a couple, great young ladies that have grown in their life, working in the world, and making their own decisions, and having children of their own. And that's being a success. I feel successful for guiding them to make right decisions. I feel successful because I made some good decisions. I feel successful sometimes because I failed a couple of times along the way. um, and I think with failure comes a stronger person. As a result, you learn your lessons um, by making these mistakes. And I think I love what I've become. I'm a successful person, and I think every individual in this world can think of different reasons as to what makes them successful.
Certainly, people don't afraid to commit mistake because mistake make you better in the future. Make sure that you learn from that mistake. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Charlie, what are the key traits of impactful leader in today's fast changing world?
Oh boy, there's a lot to unpack there. Read it again, Daniel.
Yes. So, what are the key traits of an impactful leader in today's fast changing world?
One, listen.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of Stephen Covey, and
Yes.
part of his 7 Habits of Highly Successful People is listening. But sometimes, one of the points that he makes sometimes is a lot of times people are listening to respond, and they don't really listen to you. And you can probably remember sometimes that you um, are talking in a group, and you're talking and someone's listening to you, but they're listening, and as soon as you finish, they want to say their point. They didn't really listen to what I said. So I think one of those key traits is a good listener. I think you need to be a good coach. I think you need to give great feedback, and you have to give honest feedback. I mean, I've seen some people in the working environment that are afraid to offer a little bit of constructive criticism, and you don't do anybody any good if you don't give them honest, feedback to help them improve. It's kind of like making a mistake. If you make a mistake, you learn by it to make not to make the same mistake again. And that's another, you know, that's another key trait there. Standing up for your people, talk good about your people. Um, that report to you. Be a good boss. Be a good listener. As I said, give feedback, and give feedback often. A lot of time, I talk in my book about the 1 Minute Manager and Ken Blanchard. He really shaped a lot of my leadership traits. because one of the things that he talks about is continual feedback. And one of the things that you see a lot of times, he refers to the zap, leave alone zap, where if you're trying to get somebody to improve something, you don't say anything to them for 6 months, and all of a sudden you say to them, "Hey, I asked you to do this, I asked you to do that, and you haven't made any improvements." And that's the first time that they heard it. And then you talk to them during a performance review, and you say, "Okay, I need you to work on your interaction with customers and how you react." And all of a sudden, you see them doing a good job that one day. You reward them for that. Hey, that's exactly what I was talking about. You did a great job with that instance. So, catching them doing something right at the time and giving it to them frequently instead of waiting 6 months to tell them that they're still not doing a good job. I hope that makes sense. I'm kind of rambling on a little bit.
Makes sense, Mr. Charlie. Makes sense. So your book combines life lessons with team management strategies. Why was that blend important?
Uh, it's you need to be an active member of any team that you're in. And, sometimes people want to be in, be involved in a team, but they also try to feel like it's become their individual accomplishments. But, Stephen Covey in one of his, 7 Habits talks about synergy and doing more as a team. And if you can get equal team members to contribute in the the right way, respecting others' opinions, 4 or 5 people working together on common goals will get more accomplished than those one individual folks. And that's a good blend of teamwork to help grow an organization, grow you personally in your contributions. So that's a good blend to me.
Very well said, Mr. Charlie. Very well said. So, what advice would you give someone transitioning into their first leadership role?
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Try to uh, be that person who's a good listener. Listen to what your team is telling you, your people that report to you, listen to what they're having to say to you. Seek mentors. Seek, if you're in that leadership position, you don't know the right decisions every time. And, in my book, I talk a lot about, seeking mentors. I've had mentors in my life that help guide me and help shape me and drive me to make improvements. And even to this day, I never feel like I've had enough or I've done enough. And I always feel like I can do better. I'm never satisfied with status quo. And, be open for feedback. Sometimes leaders in a new position don't think, that their body stinks. They think they're perfect, and they're by far perfect. They need to listen to what people are saying to them to make themselves better.
Certainly. So, good. Thank you for your advice, Mr. Charlie. And what will be your short term and long term goals in writing?
Uh, this was quite an experience going through this process. And it's funny as I'm thinking of every life that happens, everything that happens in my life today, I've got many triggers as to, what I could write about in the future. I don't know if I want to take the time to write another book. I really wanted to tell my story and hopefully inspire somebody to stand out and write their own story. In the food service world, I mean, are there are a certain group of people that make up that environment, and they work hard. They're on their feet all the time. But you know what? There's also great nurses in the world. My daughter's a nurse, and she is such a caring individual. But also for anybody who may be working in the computer industry, they have valuable input as well for them, and they're going to have their life experiences to help guide them. But I don't. If I write another book, I travel a lot all over the world. Maybe I'll write a book on my experiences traveling around the world. I don't know, possibly, but
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Charlie, and looking forward for more and more and more empowering books like this or another format of your book. So, what role does failure play in leadership growth, and how do you personally handle setbacks?
well, uh, I think everybody can honestly say they've had setbacks, and you have to be in the moment. You have to recognize the fact that maybe a decision you made, or you have a disappointment in a career. You maybe didn't get a promotion that you wanted. I've been through that, but you have to. It's kind of like a grieving process. When I lost my mom a year ago. Is everyone, many people have experienced a grieving process, but you have your stages. You feel bad for yourself. Your sorrow. Then you have an anger phase where you kind of get frustrated about the situation that happened, but eventually you get to the point where life goes on. You accept the disappointment, and you learn by that, and not to make that same mistake or that same bad decision again. Obviously, a grieving process is different, because if you lose a family member, they're gone forever. But disappointments in your career. Um, Ask yourself what you did wrong. Seek feedback from your superiors, your mentors. What do they see? How do they perceive you? How can you do better so that you don't make that same mistake again? How do you stand out for your future bosses to get that promotion the next time? My youngest daughter and I went in to work on a franchise together for senior living, and the intention was for my daughter to kind of grow the business in that field, because she's really a caring individual, very nurturing. And I thought, a senior placement service franchise would be great for her, and I was going to help guide her, but she just did not like the sales part of it, and that wasn't her. And I wished I had recognized that ahead of time. Um, and so that disappointment, I feel like I let down my daughter. But since then, she's gone back to school, and she's better to, increasing her nursing license status, and she's going to be better as a result of it. And she is kind of like the nursing field related to the senior living is kind of like the book Good to Great. She was on the right bus, just in the wrong seat. She needed, her path was in the nursing field with patients, working on a daily basis, not in the senior placement. So, that disappointment for both of us was a learning experience. And you pick up the pieces. You realize that life isn't perfect, and you lose a little bit of money along the way, but money doesn't always buy you happiness, as we know.
True, money can buy book, but not knowledge, people, and wisdom. So, Mr. Charlie, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Food 101. In its fifth season, people, fifth season with Chef Alessandro, one of his specialty chef in one of the five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. Please do listen to our latest episode. We are reading our letters senders all over the world. So please do listen, Food 101, wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Charlie, if there's one message you hope readers take away from life, leadership, and success, what would it be?
Hey, Daniel, repeat that, please. I'm sorry.
So, if there's one message you hope readers take away from life, leadership, and success, what would it be?
Oh gosh, there's a lot to unpack with there. Uh, learn every day and better yourself. Make yourself better in the next 3 months. Make yourself better in the next year. You know, ask for feedback from your friends, from your coworkers, from your bosses, and always, as Stephen Covey talks about sharpening your saw, always work to get better. And again, listen, be open to feedback, and just create a fun atmosphere. I've had some great bosses that have been created such a great atmosphere to help motivate me. So be that motivational person that can drive somebody to be successful. And you never know, in any discussion you have with any of your employees or any of your coworkers or anybody that you run across in life, anything that you do or say can have an impact on somebody's life. You just may never know it.
Mr. Charlie Newcomb, thank you so much for sharing life, leadership, and success to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book?
Yes, I'm available to be seen on Amazon, and it's already achieved Amazon bestseller list. So I encourage you to search under Charlie Newcomb for life, leadership, and success.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Charlie Newcomb because if you support him, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. Charlie, thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate your time, Daniel.
Modicum people, see you soon.